Hello, hello. How are you today? I hope things are going well for you. Today is going to be fun. We're going to talk about traditions. And I know they incorporate a lot of things, but I want to talk about it because today happens to be, I believe, the second day of Hanukkah. It's also Christmas week. Busy time for a lot of people, right? And I am going to talk about this subject of traditions on a basic general level because I know there's always the exceptions, and I might touch on that, but just kind of on a general sense of traditions and why they're important in our lives. Because sometimes we just kind of take it for granted, don't we? The traditions that we have in our lives. And I know the older I get, and I have grandchildren now, and seeing how my adult children and their families and their spouses incorporate their traditions as well during the holiday time. But and I want to talk about too the mental health benefits of traditions. Believe it or not, there's a great mental health benefits that come from it, and I'll break that down too. Um, but the points will be that traditions give us, please forgive me, a sense of being and well-being, a sense of belonging, which is so important in this world to be connected and feel like you belong. A sense of believing maybe it's a religious tradition, holiday, maybe it's a sense of believing that you're loved and you have your family. It could be that whole sense of believing. What does that mean for you? And also benevolence. There's always a wonderful sense in most traditions. So I'm going to share, talk about that. And one thing is I'm wearing a tradition. See this necklace that has very much seen better days. It's tradition for me to pull this out. This necklace is about 30 years old. It has seen better days, but I wear it at least once during the holiday season because it's not only become a tradition, but also it brings back so many memories of when I wear this. And when my children were a lot younger, and they'd play with it and they enjoyed it and they had fun with it, and which is why it's kind of torn apart, but it's tradition for me. I love it. And I have another Christmassy necklace that is about 33 years old, I believe, maybe 34, because I remember buying it when my youngest was about 2 years old, 2 or 3 years old, and he's 36, going to be 37. So yeah, it's been a while. That necklace is cool. And sorry about that. That was off. And so sorry, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, let me get back to traditions. Why does it matter for mental health? I think when we have good mental health, it involves connection. It involves feeling wanted. It involves feeling belonging to community or family or even your intimate partner. We have this sense of belonging, and then creating traditions within that sense of community and family and your partner brings connection and a sense of emotional intimacy even. It's wonderful. So I was remembering, when I grew up, I'm from a very large family, as I said, and Christmas time was the time when there was peace in the house, believe it or not. It was busy, but we had the basic kind of traditions, right? A lot of baking, good food, always a Christmas party, and preparing for that was always exciting when we were young, and loved the house full of cheer and neighbors, and it was just fun. It was a good time because it meant peace in the house. And so to me that's very special. Uh, and then we had a Christmas Eve meal, and then we'd have the excitement we picked names in our family because it was so big. So we had a tradition of picking a sibling's name, and that's who we would buy for. So if we were at the age that we could do that, which is usually about around 10, and we'd save our allowance and we'd, you know, get a little something for our parents and then buy something for our sibling. And the excitement of putting under the tree Christmas Eve and, hiding it and all that. So that was fun. So, and a lot of chaos ensued the morning of Christmas because there was 8 of us. There was a lot of things going on. So, but then when I got married, my then husband and I, we combined our traditions, and our children grew up knowing exactly what was going to happen, and they looked forward to the tradition. And yes, there was baking in our house as well. There was, for a few years, we had the tradition of meeting up with some friends whose children and our children were within the range of the same age, give or take a few years, and we get together and we would make gingerbread houses together as a family. And that was so fun and so special. And they knew that Christmas Eve, we would go out to dinner to a favorite place that we enjoyed called the Tam O'Shanter. This is in LA when I was there at the time. And our youngest was about 2 when we started that tradition, I believe 2 or 3. And they remember, it's so amazing because they had carolers come every year, and they dressed in that, 1800s costumes and beautiful traditional, carols, and they go table to table and sing. And it was so fun. And our children looked forward to that every year. They knew that that was going to happen. Um, and it was fun because the carolers were the same for many years, and they would remember our family, and they would remember, my youngest being a baby, and now he's like, by then he was probably like 7 or 8, but that's how long we just did this, and it was so fun. And then we get home and settle in, and my my ex would read, of course, as you know, he's a voiceover actor in LA, very prominent one. And so he'd read The Night Before Christmas in a really great voice. And he'd read out of Luke chapter 2 about the birth of Christ. And then the kids would go, "We want to open a present." And they already knew what it was going to be. And it was usually PJs, matching, usually, not all the time, but matching. And they got to a certain age where they were over it, so that didn't happen anymore. But when we were young, that was it, and they in their matching PJs, and it'd just be fun and a lot of excitement. And they get ready for bed, and then that morning, what we did, as this was the tradition of my ex's, which was, I thought was really cool, and we incorporated it, is filling their stockings. And then while they were sleeping, we'd put them on the end of their bed. So in the morning, Christmas morning, they would wake up and their stocking would be at the end of their bed. And after hanging it up empty, right? And then they would gather together and they come into our room, and we'd all open our stocking gifts together. And that was fun and silly, and it was really special. Then after that, we'd have our traditional Christmas breakfast, and then we'd open gifts. And being a large family, they had a lot of aunts and uncles. They had 3 sets of grandparents and friends. There was a lot to get through, and also the tradition of having their a notepad and pen or pencil, and they would write down each gift, who it was from and what it was, so that later in a week or 2 they would write their note of gratitude to their relative for the gift they got. That was very important. And my kids do that today with their children. That's really cool. So I think of those traditions, and I think how special they were. And I have a lot of wonderful memories from that time, and just how grateful I am for those traditions and being able to instill that sense of tradition with my children. And that now they're doing that with their children, and they're incorporating other things that they want to do, that's special to them, which is awesome. But that sense of belonging and excitement and family, it really is wonderful for a sense of well-being and connection. And that also gives us a sense of belonging. right? We belong somewhere. We belong to our family, and there's love there. Now here I was thinking about this too. I was thinking about traditions and we Saturday Night Live is hilarious. I love that show, but they do great scenarios of traditions and people getting together, and there's like the drunk uncle in the corner and the kids running around and screaming, and the very politically incorrect relative who's spewing things. It's just funny, and it's kind of a caricature of what might happen in some families, right? There are some people who live in dysfunction and yet they keep their traditions. They might complain about Uncle so and so drunk in the corner. They might complain about so and so or who, but they but they still get together every year, right? It's like they just continue that tradition of the holiday and in their way and in their dysfunction, but they do it anyway. But that's the sense of being together and feeling connected, even in the weirdest ways, right? Now we have talked about in the past developing good boundaries, knowing when to say no, and not being a part of something very negative or dysfunctional. And it's okay to say no and take care of yourself. So I'm putting that in. But some people don't, and they just do what they do. And it is kind of like a funny SNL skit. So there's also the sense of believing. So let's say holiday time with Hanukkah and Christmas. There's a religious belief. There's a belief. There's a spiritual belief. Might not even be religious. It could be just a spiritual belief, a spiritual connection of love and honoring and being together. And what a great reason to develop traditions, right? It- Tradition really does mean a transition from the Latin word. It means the transition, and the deeper meaning is that it gets passed on. So from generation to generation. So from family to family. And it's beautiful when we do that. I love seeing how people like to have their own family traditions. They're unique and they're different and they're special to them. And some hang pickles on the tree, some wait till Christmas Eve to put the star on the tree, some have special ornaments they might wait till, Christmas Eve to put on, even though the tree's decorated, they wait. There's all kinds of traditions, but they're meaningful. They're meaningful and they bring people together. They bring the family together. It's also helpful too, because when I did the last week when I talked about grieving and difficulties during holidays, it's important not be involved in traditions if you're used to that, and maybe even creating a new tradition. That's the fun thing about our families and what we do. We can create something new if we want. And like I said, someone might have passed during the year. You really, really miss them. It could be a grandparent, it could be a parent, it could be, a relative, a spouse, or someone very special to you, a good friend. And just incorporating maybe a prayer or a poem or something to include them in your tradition, in your holiday traditions. And that's really important. Um, you know, it provides comfort. Let's say you are going through a hard time. Maybe it's not necessarily a death of someone, but it's just a difficult time. It's just a period of time in life where things aren't going well and you're feeling down. And you might not even feel like, might be having struggling with some depression, but I don't want to be near anybody. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to. And although we feel that way, remember we can't always trust what we feel, right? Sometimes it's good to just have the comfort of family. Maybe don't chime in with us singing or whatever you might do. That's or game night or whatever. But be a part of it, be present, because that can bring a sense of comfort and belonging. And even for a while can distract you from what is bothering you. So there is a sense of comfort and joy, right? It brings joy. It really does. Think about people who come far and wide. We think of the Hallmark movies, but It's true that some people will travel and they get home and everybody's together, and it's wonderful when that happens. We can't take it for granted. We if I can give you a word of wisdom, of a voice, don't take it for granted. And if you are traveling and it's a hassle and I got to go home and I got to see my family and whatever. Yes, the traveling can be chaotic. I get that, especially if you have children. You have to be extra attentive to their needs on the plane and the snacks and keeping them occupied and all that. I get it, believe me. Been there, done that. But when you are together and enjoying your time together, be mindful of it. Take a minute or two and just sit back, watch your kids playing, or sense yourself being with your loved ones or your sisters, your siblings, your parents, because it's going to change and it won't always be this way. It won't always be this way. And so taking a mental picture and capturing that feeling to hold it forever in your heart will get you through some difficult times or different times. So for me, the past 3 years, I've been alone for all the holidays and my birthday. COVID didn't help, right? And travel now is expensive and it's not great for everybody and we can't be together. I can't remember the last time we were all together as a family was on Christmas was about 22 years ago, I believe. 22, is that right? About. Now I've been with because I have 4 children and they're all married and they all have their kids and everything. So it's like we've been together, but not all together, you know. So I've had like two at a time and all together and have a holiday meal. And I was the one always doing that for 40 years. Loved it. I miss making the holiday meals. I miss it. I miss the hustle and bustle. I loved it. And so for me, creating this new tradition, because I am by myself, I plan for it. I'll make myself a traditional meal. Of course, it's very scaled down, but I'll make all the homemade stuff and I'll um, make sure it's all planned ahead and I'm FaceTiming with my kids and grandkids and texting and all that all day. So that's fun and I plan for it. So is it lonely? At times, I'm gonna be honest, it feels lonely. But having the memories that I have and knowing the many, many, many traditions and many, many holidays I've had with my family and with my grandchildren and whatnot is fills my heart and fills my mind. So I lean on that and I love that. And I have pictures to look at and all that. So it's wonderful to do that. I love it. Um, I believe this year though, I met a new friend in the neighborhood and she's by herself as well. So I think Christmas Day we might get together for a few hours and that'll be fun. That'll be good. That'll be great. It's something for me to look forward to. So I look forward to that. And make yourself if you are in a situation where you won't be together with family. Maybe you won't be totally by yourself. You have your spouse or friends or siblings or whatever. You won't be totally by yourself, but it will be different because you won't all be together like you're used to. This is a great time to just start new traditions for yourself. Think up some, you can do anything. You can make up anything for yourself that can become a tradition for you. And that's what's fun. That's what is great about tradition. Build it when you're young with family, with friends, children, with whoever's around you. Build into your life traditions. Just like we have our daily rituals, right? We have our daily rituals. We all have our morning rituals, and they've changed over the years, right? Like for me, my morning ritual was just getting 4 children up and out of the house, make sure they had their lunches packed and their homework done, and they had everything, and get them to school, right? Did that for years, and then it changed. The other two went to college. The other two were in high school, and that changed. So my mornings were less hectic, and I could I could actually have a chance to have a cup of coffee, go for walks. Um, we have our daily rituals. So think of it that way. We have our daily rituals of our hygiene rituals. We have our mental health. Perhaps you sit and meditate, you read something positive, or you connect with a friend, whatever it might be in the mornings for you to get your day off right. And if you don't have a daily ritual for something like that, it's a great time to incorporate something. Like I said, they change over the years. This year for me was really different and cool. I got up early. I got up earlier than I normally do, and even connected with 3 other friends through Zoom in the morning. For me, it was morning. For them in Ireland, it was 4, 4 in the afternoon, and 1 in Canada. So he's 3 hours ahead. So we would connect in the morning and we'd chat and we have a good time. And then I'd meditate for about 45 minutes for an hour. I'd just sit and then get my day, go off, do my day, have my coffee, you know, figure out what errands I needed to do or the schedule I had or anything like that, emails I needed to get back to, all that stuff. But that was new for me and I liked it. I liked getting up a little earlier and I liked connecting with friends in the morning and then just meditating and going about my day. So the new year might be something different and I have to plan for that. It might be different. I don't think we're going to do this again. But it was great for this past year. It was wonderful. So we have our daily rituals. So we have our yearly traditions, maybe monthly traditions. Maybe you're somebody who still goes home once a month Sunday for Sunday dinner. That sounds old fashioned, doesn't it? Here's the thing about traditions and setting up something to be with family or close friends, however you connect with people in the best way, is do it. Do it. It is great for our mental health. It does bring comfort. It does bring a sense of stability and continuity in our lives that we have to look forward to it. And it's up to us to make it the best we can. We can't be responsible for other people's feelings or what they might say or do. And sometimes going home to family, like I mentioned, might be difficult. If it's that difficult, think about your healthy boundaries and think about maybe developing something new for yourself and creating your own new traditions and not going home if it's that stressful. I've talked about that in other videos. You can go back and look. It's all for you. Everything I do here is to help all of us and to help us to love ourselves and understand how to cope with life and understand how to understand the trauma we might have suffered as children. What does it mean? How do we how do we operate as human beings, right? We just kind of take it all for granted, like it just goes, but there's a lot to it and I break it down for you. So please, these videos are for you. They're for you. And I hope that you can look back and find something um, that will be helpful. And you can always reach out to me. I always leave my email, so I'm easy to get a hold of. And it's simple. I'm not flashy, as you can tell. I don't have fancy music, lights, a microphone. Maybe I do need that. I don't know. I know that in this day and age, it's the only way to get people's attention, which is unfortunate. But I notice YouTube becoming more like a gossip magazine. You know, the headlines are they're just clickbait anymore. And it's sad that we've come to this in our lives. Aren't we smarter than this? But anyway, I digress. I'm going to put my glasses on and just see the notes that I've jotted down. I talked about community. There is a sense of community. I don't know about you, but I know that there are some um, when my kids were young in the community that we lived in, there was a yearly at Christmas Eve, they had this huge flatbed truck and they filled it with Christmas trees and carolers. And I don't know how they stayed out. Well, that it went really, really slow, but I think they got shut down after a few years because it wasn't very safe. But it was fun. And they go down all the streets and the carolers would be singing and they had uh, the speakers hooked up and music and Santa Claus. And it was almost like a fairy tale. It was so beautiful what they did and how they did it. And that was really fun. And that's brought a sense of joy and a sense of community because the neighbors would be out and everybody waving, Merry Christmas, Merry, and just being happy and singing along. And community can be a place of tradition as well. So if you are by yourself or don't have very many people to celebrate with, look up what's going on in your community. There's always something. And even if it's for a couple hours at the community center or wherever it might be, it's there for you. So that's something to look forward to and have something to go to and meet people. So when we talked about the sense of being, right? A good sense of well-being too. It brings about a good sense of well-being and a being, your being, who you are is at this event, this celebration, this family gathering, and you play a part. Your being plays a part among the people. They want you there. They love you there. They're glad to see you. They give you kisses on the cheek and, say all the annoying things that relatives tend to do, but it's out of a sense mostly of love. There might be mistletoe, who knows? Although people want to cancel mistletoe because of the Me Too movement, which seems sad. We have to use our minds, be healthy, be mindful of what you do. So I don't think mistletoe needs to be canceled. Or have a personal mistletoe. That's what I think. But it's more special in your house. Um, let's see. Yeah, that's right. We form traditions based on the people who we are around. So again, with family, develop your own traditions. Think of something fun. Incorporate your children. Say, what would you like to do Christmas Eve? What would be something fun? And then give them a few choices that are doable. Read a special story. Maybe open one present. Maybe put on a little play. I don't know, whatever it might be. That's something I remember. Oh my gosh, I do remember this. This is coming back to me as a kid. My sisters and I, we would dress up and and we'd put like our robes on backwards and towels on our head and be like Jesus and Mary, and we'd have a baby doll or Mary and Joseph and have a baby doll that would be Jesus. I think we have pictures of that. Oh, we were something else. I remember that. That was fun. Boy, I just remember that. That was fun. Just know that traditions are something that have been since day one in our lives and since time began. So always remember the importance of tradition and don't take it for granted and make it the best that you can for where you are and who you're with because they do change. They do change over the years. And then when you're my age and you look back and you think of all the years you've been together with your own family, then your own family you created with your spouse and your children and all the fun traditions. I just want to say, if you're just beginning or you're a young person, maybe you even live on your own right now. You're in your 20s and you graduated college and you're out and you can't get home for Christmas. Maybe it's just not possible. Think of something fun for yourself to do. Gather some friends who might be alone too. Think of a meal you can make together. Bake some cookies together. Do something that seems fun. It's out of your comfort zone. Wear Santa hats, whatever. Bring joy into your day. Bring joy into your life and make up your own fun traditions because we can. And we are all creative. We're creative beings and we can do it. We can. So I wish for you a wonderful holiday, no matter what it is that you are celebrating, Hanukkah or Christmas, Kwanzaa, I believe, and then we're going to have New Year's. There's tradition in New Year's. I know I've had my traditions over the years for New Year's. What have been yours, or what are yours? And will they change? Now, I know COVID kind of changed a lot of things, but we're getting back to the norm now. So that was a couple years where it was rough and we were on our own and, we weren't with family necessarily, or we zoomed our celebrations together, whatever it might have been. But now we're getting back into the swing of it. So feel free to enjoy and know, don't take it for granted. Plan your day, plan your tradition, plan having fun. When you plan it, then it doesn't feel so lonely and it doesn't feel so out of place. Think of things that you might like to do if you are on your own. But if you are going home, as we all do, we all did at one time, to be with our family, with our parents, your parents aren't going to be around forever, and that changes. I know what that's like. Everything changes, so don't take it for granted. Love the people you're with and absorb it. Take time to sit back and look around the room and the people you're with, your family, and find something wonderful about each of them and tell them. Maybe tell them. That could be a new tradition. Sitting around the dinner table and saying one thing nice about someone at the table. Who knows? Something new to say. Anyway, I do wish you a wonderful, wonderful Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is that you celebrate. But don't forget, because I am going to talk about this, I'm going to take a few minutes, about the spiritual aspect, the spiritual health and well-being of yourself during these times. For me, that's the foundation. All the goodness, the love, the joy, the spiritual aspects of our life are so important to nurture and take care of and be aware of, because you are a soul and you have spirit within you. Whether you believe it or not doesn't matter. It's there. It's like I said before, so many people, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in anything. We die and that's it. It's like, all right, you do you, but I'll see you on the other side, because that doesn't prevent you from living on. And when we think about, and that's probably why my coaching and my mentoring means so much more to me over the years, is knowing that the better human that we are, the best way we can develop our own personal development and growth on this planet also goes hand in hand with our spiritual development, whether you know it or not, but it does. But just be aware of the spiritual side of you, nurture that part of you. And I'm not talking about any certain religion or any kind of certain God, but I do believe in the divine, great, forever creator, creating within us constantly. Anyway, I'm here to preach at you. I'm just here to let you know that definitely there's that side of you. And how do I know? Well, you know, I'm a practicing medium. I get to talk to people from the other side. They aren't energies, people. They're a true essence from when they were here. And it's a beautiful thing, and it's a privilege, and it's an honor, and it's sacred. And they're still around you. If you're missing someone, they are around you. They see you. They like it when you talk to them. They hear you. Just know that. So if you are missing someone around this holiday season, they're at the table with you. They're around you. They don't haunt you. They don't stalk you. It's not like that at all. But they're aware of you just as you are aware of them. They are there, and do talk to them. Incorporate them into your traditions, into your holiday time. Even thinking about them. So nurture yourself. Nurture that side of yourself. You're a beautiful, amazing human being. And yes, we're all fallible. We all make mistakes. That's the human side of us. We grow, we learn, we make mistakes, we get up and we move on. And then we share that wisdom with others, so hopefully they don't make the same mistake. But I do wish you a wonderful week. I'm not sure if I'll be here Friday. I know that sounds iffy, doesn't it? But I'll let you know one way or the other. Friday might be a little busy, and it is the Friday before Christmas. I might pop on though. I might pop on for a few minutes just to say hi because it is my commitment to you. As the new year approaches, I don't know what's going to happen. This might just be it for me since August, being live with you and being able to share with you. So I've enjoyed it. And I do hope that you enjoyed and learn from what I've shared since August with the videos of personal growth. You're in my heart. I love you. Make your day special. Make your holiday special. Create your own traditions if you want, or take on the ones that you grew up with, whatever works for you, but incorporate it into your life and incorporate it with the people around you. And that brings a sense of well-being, a sense of belonging, a sense of believing, and benevolence when we give to one another. So do that, be that, enjoy that. And I wish you all the best because you are an amazing human being and you're a miracle on this planet. And you truly matter. Just remember that. I hope you do. Take care for now. Bye.